I don't like prediction because predictions don't take into consideration what is beating in the human heart. Their eyeballs rolled. Sadhguru, do you know how much is 114 million? How many zeros out there? I have a certain way of doing things with people, push them to the extreme and then make them experience something. We must understand life on this planet is sustained by a tremendous phenomenon called as photosynthesis. How much photosynthesis we had 1,000 years ago, today we have only 15% of that. Now everybody is talking about carbon because there is money in it. But oxygen, I think all of you are oxygen-breathing people.
I'd like the audience to hear a little bit about the Isha Foundation, the incredible work that you do around the world, and how can the folks here at Dreamforce get behind your efforts as well?
Well, I won't go about listing few things to do that we do. The important thing is, fundamental concern is the human being, because the nature of the human being is such, if they attune themselves well, they are the greatest solution. If they are not tuned properly, they are the greatest problem, not just for their lives, but for every other life. Every other life is suffering on this planet because of us. In the last 70 years, 84% of the vertebrate population on the planet has disappeared. So one thing that people need to understand, this is not an environmental lesson I'm saying, this is a spiritual process. Because what is physical process means is that it's about our body, its survival, its needs and its fulfillment. Physicality comes only because of a defined boundary. This is my body, that is your body. This means we define this by the boundaries of this body. In fact, the essence of physicality is a defined boundary. If there is no defined boundary, there is no such thing as physicality in the universe. So what we are referring to as a spiritual process is that in some way, you transcend the limitations of your physical experience and in turn your physical identity. If this doesn't happen, we will create one after another problem. As we get more and more enabled and empowered, we will create bigger and bigger problems because our intelligence functions according to the identifications and experiences that we have. So my essential work is to expand human experience in such a way that if you sit here with your eyes closed, you experience everything in this hall as yourself. See, right now, whatever number of kilograms we carry right now as our body, we were not born like this. Say, look at the baby, we were born like this, but baby came like this. Just the food that we ate. From how many different places this came? When it was out there on the land, we called it soil. When it came up, we called it a crop. When it came into the kitchen, we called it food. Then when we went inside, we said, this is me. So this process we have misunderstood and it's not in our experience. We're just looking at just what is within me as me, not everything else. We clearly know from our experience that if we do not transact in terms of respiration, you won't exist here for more than 2 minutes. Now we did in 1998, when some UN agencies came to southern India and made a prediction that by 2025, 60% of this southern India will be in desertification process. I don't like predictions, because predictions don't take into consideration what is beating in the human heart. Cold statistics and you project, this is what will happen. So I wanted to make sure I just drove around southern India by myself to see what is happening. Then I saw it won't go till 2025, it'll happen sooner, because 3 rivers in where we are, the state we are, perennial rivers had gone dry, hundreds of tributaries had gone dry, it's just a question of time. So we started a project called Project Green Hands. When I told people, I made a barefoot calculation, see right now, in the state where we are at that time I'm saying, in in 1998, I said, see, the average green cover in this state is 16%, but the national aspiration is 33%. So I just made a barefoot calculation. and said if we plant 114 million trees in this state, in 8 to 10 years, we will have 33%. So I called a bunch of volunteers, about 4,000 plus volunteers, and said, see, we need to plant 114 million trees. Their eyeballs rolled. Sadhguru, do you know how much is 114 million? How many zeros out there? How do we do this? Then I asked them a simple question, what's your population? That region has a population of 62 million. I said, if all of us plant one today, nurture it for 1 year and plant one more, the number is done. So number is not the problem. All of us consume, but all of us are not willing to do the compensatory activity. So then we came up with a simple process that I have a certain way of doing things with people, push them to the extreme and then make them experience something. So then I pushed them like that and made them sit under a tree and breathe. So in their experience, they clearly saw what I exhale, the tree inhales, what the tree exhales, I inhale. Once they experience this, now you can't stop them from planting trees. Just last week, about 8, 9 days ago, we completed 112 million living trees
Wow.
in that region. But now we took up one river which has a catchment area or a river basin area of 83,000 square kilometers. So that takes 2.42 billion trees to make the river flow once again. I grew up on the banks of this river, and what it was then, today what it is only 40% left. It's a perennial river, must have flown for millions of years, but today it is only 40%. Along the way, it is a rich forest and wildlife and everything is dwindling, nobody counts that. But I'm saying even for human consumption, only 40% of the water is left. So I said, if you don't put back the vegetation, the river will not flow because it's a tropical river. The only source that we have is the monsoon rains. The land has to retain the water and let it go slowly. That is the only way it works. These are not melting snow kind of rivers. So this project is on right now and it's going on, but as I said, 112 million trees is a drop in the ocean.
Yeah.
But people think it's fantastic. That's what is tragic. That we think little steps like this are fantastic. No, what we need is 112 billion trees on the planet. Because right now everybody, it's fashionable to talk about climate change and global warming. Let's understand this much, let's say global warming. I'll make you stand in the hot sun in summer, stand there for 2 hours, then move under a tree. Do you see there's a climate change? Minimum 3 to 4 degrees difference right there, one tree. So this is what is needed. We must understand life on this planet is sustained by a tremendous phenomena called as photosynthesis. How much photosynthesis we had 1,000 years ago, today we have only 15% of that. So generally oxygen levels are going down, nobody talks about that, everybody talks about carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide. Please talk about oxygen, hello? Because that's what life thrives on here, on this planet at least. No, everybody is talking about carbon because there is money in it. But oxygen, I think all of you are oxygen-breathing people? I think so, looking at you. So, only 15% of the green cover is left. That means 15% of the photosynthesis is on compared to what it was 1,000 years ago. Our populations have gone up significantly since then, and how life will be on this planet in the next 30 to 40 years is not very pretty. It's not a very pretty picture unless we turn it around. Not that we cannot turn it around, we can turn it around. But everybody wants to do their own fanciful things, it won't work. We must understand a simple thing. Every extra green leaf that you put on this planet from this moment onwards is one small step towards climate mitigation, every extra leaf. How many leaves will be put before we fall dead? That's a question.